Welcome back to the last session today of the Hong Kong Greek Gastronomy Festival. On the last panel, we've got Greek wine and Greek beer. And we've got the experts with us, Yannis Karakassis and Alexandros Kouris, and my good colleagues, Haiyan Song and Dilap Louis, to actually introduce the session. Haiyan, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Dimitris. Welcome to this wine and beer session. This session is aimed to introduce us the knowledge about the Greek wine, Greek beer by two distinguished experts from Greece. This session will be chaired by myself and my colleague Dilap Louis. I will first introduce the first speaker, and then my colleague will introduce the second speaker. We hope that we will be having a few minutes for discussion. So each speaker will talk about maybe about 20 to 25 minutes, and hopefully we will have some time for a little bit of discussion. So let me first introduce Mr. Yannis Karakassis, Master of Wine. And Yannis is one expert, and the wine has always been a driver and inner passion for him. So after completing a career as an officer flying helicopters in the Greek Navy, and he seized the opportunity to become a professional wine expert involved in different type of wines. And also Yannis' energetic and dynamic personality has enabled him to develop into one of the strongest voices for Greek and Cypriot wines. Via his blog, Karakassis.mw, and he's also one of the two founders of winecommanders.com, which went to become one of the most prominent site on Greek wine. See, he also published some books on Greek wines. Without further ado, let me hand over to Yannis.
Hello, good morning, and nice to meet you all. And thank you, Dimitris, for your kind invitation. I'm delighted to be. I'm delighted joining you today. And shall I share my screen and start with? Okay, let me see how I do that with the presentation. Okay. Can you see the presentation?
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm very good with technology. No, don't believe that. I'm terrible. So I would like to introduce you to Wines of Greece, and my 20-25 minutes presentation will cover three parts. In the first part, I will talk a little bit about the contemporary varieties and regions of Greece, and trying to infect you with the Greek idea, with the Greek and show to you why Greek wine is hot in our current wine discussions. And then I will talk briefly about one of my ventures, which is 50 Great Greek Wines, and what we do there. And I will conclude with few words about my current book on the wines of Santorini. So moving on, what is Greek wine? Greek wine is a small part of the worldwide production. We are, I think, around the 17th position in volumes, but what we express is something very, very unique. If you see closely on the upper left of this infographic, you will see that 90% of our plantings is indigenous varieties. And we're very proud of this. This is something that we didn't discover last year or 10 years ago. This is our heritage. And we are proud to say that we have around 300 already discovered indigenous varieties, and 90% of what we plant is those. So there is a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and Syrah. The rest of it is varieties that we're gonna talk about. So Greek wine is not mainstream. It can never be mainstream. It cannot compete big productions like wines from Chile or wines from Australia, but it has a very high individuality index. This is what I call authenticity index. Very, very unique wines. And when we say, unique wines that you taste it and you cannot mistake them for something else. This is the definition of uniqueness. So very briefly, for people that are not acquainted with what Greece is like, on the southern part, you have the island of Crete, one of the biggest, the largest islands of the Mediterranean. Then you have Peloponnese, central Greece, and then moving to the north, we have Macedonia and Thrace to the eastern part. But a very big part of what Greece has to offer in terms of wine is what the islands produce. So we have one part to the east, which is the Kyklades and the Dodekanica and the northern Aegean Islands. And on the western part, we have the famous islands of the Ionian Sea. I'm going to talk very briefly about maybe 10 varieties and focusing on the most important things. First of all, we have this lovely variety called Savatiano, which has aromas of apples and a little bit of toast when it is matured. A variety that it was associated with, bad quality Retsina, rocket fuel tasting Retsina, but a variety that has managed to reverse its fame over the last years. And this variety has been transformed from the ugly duckling to a beautiful swan. And in the Attica region, you mainly find Savatiano. You're talking about old vines, unirrigated vines, bush vines, low yields, which may be like 20 hectoliters per hectare, and very, very stony soils like the one that you see in this picture. So what has happened is quality-driven producers are making excellent wines that can age for, why not, a decade at their best. Then we have Robola. Robola is a variety that comes from the island of Kefalonia. Remember that I said that Kefalonia is on the Ionian Islands on the western part of Greece. And there we have, again, very specific, very, very special terroirs that rise up to 800 meters. As you can see here, old vines, very poor soils, a lot of limestone. Limestone, we think that produces wines with character because it has very good drainage conditions. So it promotes low yields. It does not permit high yields. This is the variety, the Robola. This is the variety that the Italians called Vino di Sasso because of the soils and the minerality. For me, Robola is something like a baby Assyrtiko. It has fresh acidity. It has a lot of citrus fruit, a very distinctive for me aroma of fennel. All these illustrations are illustrations of the varieties that are made specifically for my blog, karakasis.mw. And a very interesting variety on the rise from a magnificent island called Robola of Kefalonia. Then we move on to Santorini. Of course, we have Assyrtiko. Assyrtiko and Santorini is where the discussion is focusing at the moment. But of course, you have all the other varieties. Santorini is a warm place, and you have a variety which thrives in warm mesoclimates and combines it has an unusual combination of high alcohol and high acidity. So you may find aceticos with 14.5% of alcohol or even 15%, but they're light on their feet because of this high acidity and their minerality. And they are trained in this lovely and unique system called Kulura, the basket train system, for various reasons. I'm not going to cover, obviously, everything now. But Assyrtiko, especially Santorini, is the taste of rocks and salt. It's not fruity, it is textural. It's a variety that behaves, is a white variety that behaves like a red variety, a very food-friendly and amazing potential. Really, really something out of this world. If you taste an Assyrtiko from Santorini, you cannot mistake it with, it looks like no other wine in the world. Yes, and of course now you have Assyrtiko all over Greece, from Crete to Thrace, and some very good wines are made outside Santorini in a different character. Another very interesting variety is called Moscofilero. This is a pink-skinned variety. This is Moscofilero. It's a pink-skinned variety. It is floral and exotic. It looks like, it smells like Gewürztraminer, but it has a very specific characteristic. Its acidity is high. It's difficult to have an aromatic muscatty variety with high acidity, and this is what Moscofilero has to offer. Produces usually wines that are light to medium body, and over some years, after 3 or 5 years of aging, it has some peppery aromas, while initially it expresses aromas of roses, a classic aroma for Moscofilero. One more to go before I think then we have Vidiano, and then we go to the red varieties. Malagousia is the Cinderella of the Greek vineyard, a variety with that thrives all over Greece. When we talk about Malagousia, although it started from the west and central part of Greece, there's no specific terroir associated with Malagousia, although the northern part of Greece, Macedonia, Portokaras, and the Panomy are the areas that initiated the discussion. So here we have a variety that has good aromas. It's not so aromatic like Moscofilero. It's not so floral, and it is zesty. It is round with moderate acidity. It is easy to drink, and it's no wonder that it is very popular both in the domestic and in the international market. There are two styles: the floral style and one more herbal when Malagousia is planted in higher elevation. You can see also a bunch of Malagousia. There is no point in aging Malagousia for more than 5 years. So it's a variety, you chill it, you can have it as aperitif or with light dishes or with lahanodolmades, and it's delicious. And last variety of the white varieties that I want to cover, which are the most important, is Vidiano. This is a variety that comes from Crete. A recent success story for Crete, because a decade ago, most people were talking about Villana. Villana is not anymore the star of the Cretan vineyard. It is Vidiano, a variety with specific aromas of nectarines, peach, and apricot, and a little bit of honey, fresh acidity, and you can find it in all over Crete, mainly in the area of Heraklion. And some very good examples come also from higher elevation. And before I finish my reference to the Greek varieties, let me talk also about two main red varieties, which are each one is the alter ego of the other. So we have Agorgitiko, and then you have Xinomavro, completely different. Agorgitiko comes from Nemea, the largest PDO area, Appellation Contrôlée area in Greece. And it is a variety, this is Agorgitiko. This is a variety that has everything in balance, in harmony. It has color, it has acidity, it has tannins, but not in excess. Everything is moderated, and it goes well with a moderate amount of oak and can produce a diversity of styles. It can initiate the discussion because it's a crowd pleaser variety. Some people say, myself included, that it resembles a little bit of Merlot or Tempranillo, but for me, it has a unique, a more unique taste. And because in Nemea, you can find it in 3 zones, some of them very high at 1,000 meters of elevation. So there you have a variety that you can give to someone and say immediately, oh, I love it. This tastes very good. I would drink this wine. I would buy this wine. And then you have another variety, which is called Xinomavro. And this is a variety that 10 years ago had a different profile. It was more rustic. You needed to age it for 10, 15 years to enjoy it. And it had aromas of cherries, olives, and mushrooms. Now the new generation of Greek producers have managed to express a different interpretation of Xinomavro, which is more fruity, even floral, with strawberries, cherries, and roses. This is the variety that actually the picture is not from Nausa, it's from Amideo, which are very close, and these are the main PDOs for Xinomavro. Northern Greece, Nausa, Amideo, Goumenissa, Rapsani, Sciatista, and Belvedere. I know I'm saying a lot of information, but I won't. Give me a second. And I want to point out that Amideo and Goumenissa are the varieties 100% Xinomavro. And we have a variety that doesn't have the color of Agorgitiko. It has a lot of acidity and a lot of tannins. That's why I said this is the alter ego of Agorgitiko. And as I'm moving on, I think I'm okay with timing, Dimitris, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that was in a nutshell the most important Greek varieties, because this is the discussion about Greek wine. This is what the markets want. This is what people from UK, what people from Australia, what people from Canada and USA, and I think from Hong Kong are interested. They're interested in the unique stories of these varieties, the terroirs, the taste of Greek wine, which for me, although small in scale, these wines are terroir driven. They have new ideas, new approaches, and they make great wines. And by saying great wines, great Greek wines, I would like to communicate very briefly what I'm doing in 50 Great Greek Wines with a lovely team that I have. This is an innovative idea. I don't think that no one does it like this. So this is not a competition. This is like a platform communicating the top quality wines that Greece has to offer. It awards only 50 wines out of the 500 or 600 participating. We don't know exactly this year how many, because registrations are still open. Only 50 wines are awarded, and we do promotional activities with those wines. We buy the wines from the market, so we don't accept samples from producers, and we invite, I think, some of the best tasters, some of the best professional tasters in the world to be part of this judgment. There is no Greek person in the jury because we want to have the most credible result. And this is the list of the previous 50 great Greek wines. Now, this May, we're going to have the second edition. I'm going to leave it just for 10 seconds. And of course, you can have more information in our site, greatgreekwines.com. And here we have the judges for 2022. Mark Andrew from UK, co-founder of Nobrod, Wojciech Bąkowski, the most famous wine writer from Poland, an emerging market for Greece, Lenka Sedlačková, who is senior brand manager for Bancroft, Dimitri Walters, Masters of Wine, Caro Maurer, journalist and educator from Germany, and Stefan Neumann, Master Sommelier from London. This is a dream team. And last but not least, a few words about my latest book, which continues the discussion of Greek wine into a specific terroir, and this is the Wines of Santorini. The book was long-listed for prestigious André Simon Awards. It is 400 pages. These are some beautiful words written by Tamlin Karin for JansesRobinson.com. 400 pages covering the history, the terroirs, the viticulture, the vinification, and covering all 20 producers that are now active in the island. Actually, now there are 21. Maybe this will be part of the updated book. Just a few shots of combining nice, authentic pictures with what we believe is hot for Greek wine, which is the Wines of Santorini. And having said that, I think I need to summarize that Greek wine for me is passion, is flame, is something outside the ordinary. It makes you think a little bit, but also there are wines that are completely easy drinking for everyday consumption, but you can find also some of the best wines in the world from majestic terroirs, which do not cost a fortune. So thank you very much. I would happily answer any question. I think more or less I'm able to answer most questions about Greek wine, so I'm all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Yanis, for the presentation. It's fantastic that within a short period of time, we know a lot more about Greek wines. Dimitris, since Yanis is going to leave a bit earlier, should we have a question now or we'll leave it to the end?
I know that Yanis has got to leave a little bit early. I think you can have the questions for Yanis and then we'll go to Alexandros with the beer.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Dimitris. And yeah, thank you.
All right. Okay, so probably I will ask the first question and then others can ask a question later. Right, so Greek wine, according to you, is unique, right? But you also said it will not like any other regions which will make major impact in different countries and regions, including Asia, China, and Hong Kong. But since it is unique, it has uniqueness, and this actually is attraction, right? People would looking for unique wines from different countries. So why, in Asia, in China, there's still a lot of knowledge about Greek wines and less demand for Greek wines as compared with wines from other regions? Is that because of a lack of publicity, promotion, marketing, or you drink all the wines yourself in Greece?
And that's a good point. Actually, we drink more than we need to in Greece. But to answer the question, this is our target. This is our goal, because there are the classic areas: Italy, Spain, and France. So most of the people who drink a wine like this, they have the history, they have the fame, they have all of this. Greek wine, although old, so we have a very rich tradition, is also very new, because it has risen out of the shadows of the 50s and the 60s only over the last 2 or 3 decades. So we're on a roll, and I think also the part of the distance is not the best for us. So we focus mostly in parts of Europe and USA, but there have been also some efforts also in Asia, not all of them successful, to be honest. I think we need to work a lot in terms of marketing, strengthen the message. The message is there, but we need to find a way to arrive to the consumer and taste the wines, because when you taste the wines, you say, okay, yes, this is unique because it is unique. You know, this is uniqueness is a word that it is abused. But if you taste a Santorini Assyrtiko, a Xenomavro from Nausa, then you have, or Amindeo, these are transporter varieties. You taste them and say, okay, I'm in Nausa, I'm in Amindeo, I'm in Santorini. There are not a lot of varieties in the world that you taste them and they get you to their home place. Yes.
I think, Yannis, we need to turn this around and ask Professor Song how he can help us to take Greek wine into Hong Kong, into China. And that's exactly the purpose of what we're doing.
I think education is one thing we can do, and for this, actually, we have a program, international wine management program. Actually, in the future, we can include Greek wines as one of the.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. So I'm sure this will help in terms of promoting Greek wines.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of this initiative, and nice meeting you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, bye-bye.
Yannis.